sort of venues where an original band could grow have been shut down, basically. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's left this kind of hole in the middle. But there's a lot of sort of early original band venues, like where you can sort of fit maybe 100 people in there or something, and that's good. But there's sort of not this kind of 500-ish kind of size anymore for upcoming original bands in Perth. So I think that's pretty hard. And also, like, I mean, you're on originals yourself. I'm not so much in that scene at the moment, but I've heard it's incredibly difficult at the moment to get out, to break through.
To get the noise, to get through Spotify noise, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're always under that sub 1,000 listens for like months until you know, it's a tricky spot.
And there's amazing stuff out there. Like I've heard some amazing, like Perth written original music.
Yeah.
Which is sitting on, like you say, some 1,000 listens. It's like,
how they're not getting,
how they're not getting through.
Because you're competing with the whole world.
Yeah.
I think you used to win over your town and then win over your state, win over your city, and then take it international. That pathway now, it's just like bank straight into the international pool.
Yeah.
But this is a talented town though.
It is.
Like,
we have awesome music playing here.
Carnival's world class. They're as good as anything that's out there.
Yeah. I got to meet John Stockton the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I had a music lesson with him on bass. It's like that guy's an incredible player and like just knows so much about everything to do with bass.
Oh, really?
Mate.
What's the bass player conversation sound like?
Actually, my combo with him was actually more around tone than anything else because, you know, we did at the start. I just showed him kind of how I can play it. He's like, okay, you got that sorted. Let's talk tone. Yeah. And he was just talking about all the different elements of how to build a bass tone and where all the frequencies are if you're trying to get particular tones, if you know what I mean. So like, you know, about 2K is for slap and for pick attack, and higher than that if you're trying to get real pick attack to pop through, and just things like that. And also about compression, distortions, effects loops, and where to put things
put things in the order. That's huge. Right? So what's your rig?
Okay, so my rig is not what you would expect, right? So I'm using this. Have you heard of a Sounds Amp before?
Yeah, Sounds Amp 21 or something?
Yeah, exactly. Tech 21 is the brand.
Tech 21, yeah.
But man, that's where all the tone's coming from. And for me, that's like, it's an analog tone out of that thing, and that's kind of the end of my chain all the time. That goes straight to the PA.
Yeah.
And so just with my bass and that, I'm already.
Oh man, that's Turing dream.
Yeah. That's getting 99% of all of my tone for everything is out of just that one box and the bass itself. And then I've got a Line 6 HX Stomp in front of that, doing all the effects.
The Helix?
Basically. Yeah, the Helix. And so depending on the song, and I'll have a different patch for every Tool song that I've got. So I kind of have the set list in the Stomp, if you know what I mean.
So you're using the Tech 21 as a power amp to go to the PA? Like
exactly.
a DI?
Yeah, DI, correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So almost all of my bass tone is in that pedal board.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
What have you got? There's a few of them, Tech Fly and Tech.
Yeah, this is I think it's just called the Bass Driver, and mine's got like the 3-button version on it. So like I have 3 different kind of pre-programmed tones in there. I've got like one I use for everything tone and one Tool tone.
Oh wait, so you take that across multiple bands? Yeah, and how have you set up your Helix?
The Helix is like, I've got a compressor that's on all the time in that just sort of helps kind of flatten the tone out a little bit, right? And so that's kind of across the board. And basically what I'm really doing for a standard bass tone is there's one that's kind of just flat, and that's kind of like a warm, supportive, no attack kind of tone where you just want me to sit under everything without adding anything to the guitar range. Yeah. And then I've got one other patch where it adds a bunch of 2K in there, which adds a bunch of character. So I'm doing slap or something a bit more aggressive. Yeah. I've got that. And then, of course, there's all the distortions and different things and wahs and delays and
fuzz. I love fuzz on a bass. That's my jam, huh?
Man, I kind of have like you say, a distortion and a fuzz is kind of my bass setup, and that'll get me through 99% of gigs, right? But then when I go to Tool,
what's the setup for that?
So for Tool, every single song has a separate patch in the Line 6, you know what I mean? Which is specifically built for that song because of all the different shit that's in there, or the speed of the delay, or, you know, the choruses and the flanges and the whatever else is required. But like you've said, man, he's got a setup which is just made up of pedals you can buy. Yeah. Right? And they're all kind of, what I found, and again, something I've learned over time, is that they're actually all set up fairly similarly, song to song. So once you've got it once, you can put it onto the next one, and it's usually pretty close. It's a little tweaking.
Don't go down that pedal path, man. That is dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, I was quite lucky because I could see myself easily have gone down the Justin Chancellor style pedal board, which is like 2 meters long. Yeah. Right?
And they're hundreds of dollars each.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
And you're buying them because they look beautiful.
They do. And they do sound beautiful too. So really early on, the guitarist from the Tool band, he was the first guy that I saw back in the scene after being out for 15 years. And he had the proper Line 6. Yeah. I forget what it's called, but it's the big one. It's the expensive floor unit. Yeah. And he was just achieving, when I walked into that room for that band,
Yeah.
we're called Renegades of Rock now, but we were Accelerate back then. I've never heard anything like it in a room where like there was a set list to play and we walked in there and it sounded exactly like the band on all fronts. Do you know what I mean? So like the vocalists, the guitars, the tones were identical and all the leads were perfection. And there was two guitarists and they're doing the harmony lead, like just like, and the drummer's doing the exact drum beat.
Did you have that moment where you go, it's heart-wrenching, where you go, I might be the shittest person in this room?
You know what? Yeah, there was that moment, definitely. It was also like, I've never been involved with something so precise and perfect. And it also gave me an understanding and an appreciation for what the bands had written in the first place and why they sound so good. And when you hear it in a room live to perfection, it's like, man, holy shit.
Yeah. But he's got a few tricks up his sleeve though, because I've noted I think he's got an aux box load and that sits on a dual rectifier or a Badlander or something like that.
Yes, correct.
And then so he's giving that fucking amp everything, like overloading it and then running that. So he's running digital, so he can switch easy live and set dial everything in perfectly and then crank it in through valves like a motherfucker. Yeah. And so he's onto it. Like when I saw his setup, I was like,
that dude is totally onto it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the other big factor to Arizona Bayswater is actually the sound guy, Hayden.
Yeah.
Who we have.
Hayden Barton.
Yeah.
Oh, legend.
Man, I don't know how that dude does it, but he just nails it every time.
It's never too loud.
It just sounds amazing every time. And it's like he's actually helped me dial my bass tone in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, definitely. Like, so we'd do a sound check and I'm cranking and he's like, oh, Mikey, I could probably use a bit of this. And we're actually tweaking it each time. And the last three, he's like, nah, we're all good. You got it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because when guys mess with your tone, when the producers you're kind of like, dude, this is my sound. Like, this is me. This is who I am. But they're normally always right. They're always right. You've got to listen to them.
So onto it.
Have you ever seen him play? Did you ever see him in Pathogen?
I've seen a video of him playing at Pathogen.
Dude, he could shred. He was my OG guitar hero probably, from the local scene.
And the hair windmills?
Yeah, and the Jackson and stuff. Like, he had this big fucking green Jackson or something.
That dude is an absolute legend on all fronts.
I can't believe that band isn't playing. Like, he was so good in the day. Mellow Death, I think, was like, came and gone a bit.
Yeah.
Because that was like In Flames and stuff. But, man, he used to shred solos and they supported Opeth once. And
did they? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Where you guys played at Capitol.
Yeah.
And man, so good. I think the power went out and then they played like a drum solo. Like it was like
that kind of show.
That was so
good.
Metal. Pathogen is so good. That's what I think. Like, because that's how I got into it. But I don't know, 2000s, I think I started going to shows. And metal was just next level. There's so many good players in all sorts of different fields. Like Danny from like Voyager.
Yeah.
He was, I think he started in a black metal band, but he had a radio show behind the mirror playing stuff. And then you go see this band, he's playing at a power metal band. You just realize like these are the same people doing all these different sounds and music. And there's fuckloads of talent in this town. So yeah, it's cool. All right. So upcoming gigs, let us know. We'll probably drop this in the next week or two, this podcast. And then, what do you got that people can come to?
Yeah. Okay. So I think next week, this is the 13th, we're doing the Offspring Smash in full.
My God. Yeah.
Are you going to be for that? You're
away. I'm out of town. And do you know what? I've never seen Offspring live.
Haven't you?
No, because I missed that fucking big day out because I was grounded. And then I was like, come on, parents, you don't understand. I'll surf double just later. Just not, but I couldn't go. And then
that's so funny.
And then I've just been out of town every time that they've come. So that's my biggest, them and Rage Against the Machine are the two biggest bands that I feel like I've never seen.
Yeah, I'm in a rage band too. I forgot to say that.
Yeah. Renegades of Rock?
No, that one's called Wage Against the Machine.
Okay. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, we have like.
What's your favorite song to play of that?
Oh, that's such a good question. And again, dude, this is one that was my second CD. I think was that self-titled.
The self-titled.
Yeah,
all time.
Amazing.
All fucking time.
I learned the whole thing on bass when I was like 16, I think.
Yeah.
And then after my kind of tour journey, listened to it again and dived into what Tim was doing on the bass with his tones in that band.
Yeah.
And had not realized back then how amazing his bass tone was and what he's doing song to song as well.
Yeah.
If you listen closely, man, in the same song, it sounds like it's one bass tone, but if you listen carefully, he's changing it like 3 times in every single song. And so that's been a journey for me, is to try and replicate that as best as possible.
They need that because Morello just sort of chimes in with little bits and pieces here and there and does some DJ kind of stuff. And like that bass is really carrying all on that.
Yeah, he is. I think probably my favorite, I love Wake Up. Like,
oh yeah, I love Wake Up. Yeah, nice. And when it was at the end of The Matrix, do you remember that? Yeah,
man. Yes, it's exactly.
How sick was that?
I do remember that because that was wicked. That was the best way to finish that movie.
Yeah,
that song's wicked.
That was the first time I'd ever seen a DVD. I think was The Matrix.
Yeah.
And it was in 5.1 at some guy's house, and it had like speakers around the house. So you'd hear bullet shells go from like left to right, like ching, 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 ching. And then when that song kicked in at the end, I was like, fucking
That's so good.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, Des is in that band as well.
Is he?
His Zach is just ridiculously next level.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So that's the 13th ad. Did you say?
No, so the
Offspring is
the Offspring is 13th. We're not doing anything Rage for a while. We're doing Californication Full at Rosemount with the Chili's band, and that's in June, I think. I'm doing a Deftones like best of show.
7 words, that song.
Yes.
I fucking love that song.
Man, Deftones this is what's giving me hope about music, right?
Yeah.
Is we've done one gig with that band.
Yeah.
And the formula today has been anything in the 90s era, you've got basically 30 to 50-year-olds come to the shows. At the Deftones one, it was half sub-20s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was wicked.
There's an attitude to it.
Yeah, there really was.
This generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Getting into it a bit now. So.
Yeah. Because that's an angry band.
It is an angry band.
It's funny because I saw, did you see go to Warped Tour 99?
No.
It was like Pennywise, Suicidal Tendencies, Deftones. That was like the attitude. And then emo was 2001 or 2001. And that kind of was the death of all that. You know, there's a whole bunch of bands that I just never, Atreyu and Poison the Well and, you know, these hardcore bands and stuff that I just like, nah, I like the punk stuff and I like the metal stuff. Well, that's really cool that young people are coming to see a band like that.
Yeah.
And so that's June, you said?
Yeah, I think that's June and July, those couple. And then, there's a Tool show as well at the end of July, I think. And then we're doing another one. So that one's the best of. We're just going to do a bit of, take the weight off our shoulders, the album weight, and just play fun Tool stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's your Tool song?
What is my favourite Tool? Let me think about that for a second. You know what? My favourite changes often for Tool. Eulogy was one of my early favourites.
Yeah.
Like, just loved everything about that song and the build and all that stuff. Invincible was really fun to play the last show. That was a favourite. Rosetta Stone was a favourite for a while as well. I think The Pot was my first favourite. If I had to pick a favourite now, it might be The Patient. I like the way that sort of builds slow.
I think 46 and 2 for me. But that's just because I was a stereo destroyer. My dad that was the only time I ever influenced my dad's music taste because he was so set in, you know, he loved Deep Purple, Santana, Led Zeppelin. I could put it on, he's like, what's this shit? What do you listen to? At 46 and 2, he's like, okay.
Yeah, I'm getting it.
Yeah. No, he's a massive Tool fan, so yeah.
You know what, dude? You were talking about that show and how they weren't Tool fans there, but everyone just erupted like after time. And I think that's the thing with Tool. If you're not a fan, it doesn't matter. You listen to the music, and even if you're a non-muser, you know it's hard. Yeah. You know what they're doing is hard.
Yeah. And it's you zone out for bits and pieces and you start visualizing and going on a journey.
Yeah.
And then you think in your head, you're predicting where you want the next bit to go.
Yeah.
And then they go there and beyond. And it just gets better and better and better and better. Yeah. And it is the one in the city, right?
Yeah.
And I was running late because I had band practice. I just weaved my way into the middle. First thing that fletched past is a joint, and it was like Woodstock in there. The smoke level in that thing. And that was the same thing. Every single motherfucker's on a journey together. That was crazy. Silence at the end of that.
It's pretty unique.
Yeah. Favorite Offspring song?
Whoa, that's a tough one. Again, let me think on that for a sec.
You can have a sentimental favorite and then you can have this is actually my favorite.
I think the sentimental favorite is definitely Bad Habit. And because of the swearing, because it was so naughty at school, right? Do you know what I mean? That line.
Goddamn motherfucker.
And we've done that song, I think, 3 times at different shows. And that has always been the highlight for me of that, doing it live. Like people singing that back at you hard. It's so good. That is erupt. So there's that. In terms of my actual favorite, you know what, man? I really enjoy playing Self-Esteem. It's just got the bass line, and that's really fun. And if you and the drummer can really lock it, it can sort of be quite fun to play live.
Yeah. And I suppose you're getting a lot of energy off the crowd as well. Yeah. And I've got to mention this quickly. You're wearing a Ninja Turtles, OG Ninja Turtles, not this modern shit, OG Ninja Turtles shirt. So can we talk quickly about cartoons and that kind of thing? Because actually, one of my core memories of St. Joe's is Ninja Turtles coming out in about year 2, year 3. Everyone had, Raphael or something, like that. So let's talk cartoons. Yeah. What's your all-time favorite?
It'd have to be Ninja Turtles. Love Ninja Turtles as a kid. Yeah. There's so many good ones though from back in that era.
Yeah, like Robotech and there was really deep ones as well. Like Exo Squad and Robotech, they were fucking crazy.
They were nuts.
Yeah, Transformers, people dying and stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty nutty. Yeah. Voltron was a thing as well.
Voltron.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what they did back in that day is it was kind of the start of, I think, the action figure thing. So there was cartoons, but then you get the figures you could have.
Yeah. Well, they did the toys first.
Yes.
And then they went, we're going to sell these as cartoons, which killed me in my soul because I thought, but like, Right. And that was perfect. We were the perfect target market for that. And the ads and everything were so cool.
They were so cool.
Yeah. But those cartoons were actually really deep and good. And, you know, you look at the shit the kids are watching now, like probably Bluey aside, you're watching this stuff and it's just like, you know, Microsoft Paint, like, or, you know, like